My bike is set up with a suspension stem and seat post, and with Paris-Roubaix fast approaching, should the pros be considering using such a setup when they take on the race itself? Let's dive in. So my bike is rather muddy, and that is because I have taken this steed through most of the Paris-Roubaix course yesterday with suspension fitted to the bike, and it was a brilliant ride. Very, very rough going, but I was glad I had some suspension to smooth out those bumps. So I've got redshift componentry fitted to this bike. The seat post provides 20 mil of active travel, as does the stem, and that's all tunable depending on your riding preferences. Suspension perfect on super rough ground, such as this one that you might encounter in Paris-Roubaix, but also advantageous if you're riding on more benign road surfaces, less than perfect road surfaces where you feel that road buzz. And the advantage is that it will reduce your fatigue, allowing you to stay comfortable for longer, enjoying your ride more, but also perhaps being able to push harder for longer, which I think is a really good thing. This little experiment is going to take place. Now, this sector comes inside the last 20 kilometres of Paris-Roubaix, and it is rated for a 5-star in terms of difficulty, obviously 5-star being the hardest cobbles you can possibly imagine in Paris-Roubaix. There's only 3 sectors like this in the race. So my idea is that I'm going to ride this entire sector with and without suspension and see where the differences may lie, how it feels, what my difference in time might be. It's going to be a rough affair. Bumping along like a carriage. Or hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be nice and smooth. Right then, last 5-star sector of Roubaix, I think the hardest one of the entire race. Let's give it an effort. And with no suspension, usual stem and seat post on the bike, I'm going to give it my best, see what time I can do, and also see how the body copes with those cobbles. Right then, we're off. Let's do it. Adrenaline to the max. Imagine 50 kilometres of this and what it does to your undercarriage. It's like riding on a cheese grater. I pick the pace up now, a little bit of relatively conditioned cobbles. Then we deteriorate rapidly onto this left bend. Whilst I bounce along on the cobbles, it's worth saying that many riders have actually used suspension setups when racing Paris-Roubaix. So back in 1991, Gilbert Duclos-Lassalle took the win with suspension forks, 30 mil travel on the forks. And by 1993, 5 teams were using the same setup when Duclos-Lassalle took the win again. The likes of Andre Schmil as well have also won using suspension forks, and George Hincapie took second at the race when he used a soft tail design frame with 13 mil of travel built into the rear of his bike. Now, you've also got Specialized Roubaix, Trek de Marne, all providing that extra compliance, slight suspension needed to do well at Roubaix and to ride well on rougher surfaces. The advantage of using a stem and seat post combo is that team managers don't have an excuse when riders say they want to make their life a bit more comfortable, because you can easily swap it onto the bike you already use and make your life that bit more comfy. Can't even see the computer. Right, well, as you can tell, I found that quite hard. Now, though, I'm to swap off the stem, swap off the seat post, add some suspension to my bike. Time to see if I can better my time with a bit of added cushioning, a bit of suspension. And we're off. Right. I can't get clipped in, there we go. This is so rough, and it's these corners make it so tricky. Now you need to pick your line a bit better and also be in a better position to put down the power. Take it wide, a nice smooth line. There we go. Rounding the final bend, the last stretch of cobbles here are brutal. Pick the wrong line and you're in trouble. anything you can do here to soften the cobbles proves a massive advantage. Right, they come up to finish. Woo! Stop my clock! My body's jangling. Still just get absolutely battered by those cobbles. I was able to put the power down there, and that's what counts, and I was able to keep my momentum going. So now I'm going to just check out both times. See how we compare. Results time then, and it's quite interesting because I was 20 seconds slower without the suspension compared to when I had the seat post and the stem fitted. So 4 minutes 40 for Carrefour de l'Arbre, with the suspension around 5 minutes without, which is quite a sizable difference. And considering that's only one sector, add that to the entirety of your ride, a longer effort, and you can really see how the differences would add up. And I've got to say, so I've used a suspension and stem before, mostly for gravel riding, and also on my home roads in Ireland, old training roads, where it's real rough surface, chip and tar sort of surface. And I was a big fan, and I found it made the ride a lot more comfortable. But coming here to the cobbles, I wasn't sure if it would make as much of a difference, because here it's just so rough. You have those super big jarring impacts. But I definitely noticed it, especially without the suspension. It just rocks your arms, your biceps hurt, your bones hurt, and it's your fingers that really feel it in the joints here, the knuckles, and it adds up even on just doing one sector. The seat post, I think for me, makes the biggest difference on the cobbles, and it's probably the upgrade that I'd go to if I was racing Roubaix, because instead of getting bounced around on your saddle and struggling to put the power down, it keeps you much more planted on the bike, so you can focus on your pedaling style, on keeping the power going, which is so important here because you really need to keep your momentum. When you don't, the cobbles get the better of you, you lose speed, and it's so hard to get it back. And having that ability to make it much more comfortable in the saddle is a definite plus point for me. So I'm not saying I ever will Roubaix. I think the chance of that happening is pretty slim after my performance today, but if I was, this is something that I would definitely consider as an upgrade to the bike I was already racing on. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Have you tried using any sort of suspension setup on your road bike? Let me know what you think and if it's something that you'd recommend. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found it useful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Allez, allez, allez.